Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Queen Anne Can. I'd like to welcome you to Peninsula View. This is our fourth of the author series, and I have two great authors here. I'm so excited to have them. I personally intend to get a lot of information from them today for my own self, and I hope you benefit from their presence also. First of all, Deborah Moody, and she's written a book here, Persevere Through Fear. That is such a open, I mean, anybody can relate to that because we've all had fear. So thank you so much for being here, and I'm excited about talking about this book.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. My next guest is Marilyn Randolph, and she said, be still. Now I want to find out because I know I need to be still because my mind is going even though I'm quiet, but my mind is steady going. I'd like to just be still. And so we're going to find out about that. So I want to welcome you to the show and thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So I'm going to give these back to you because I want you to share with us. But first of all, I want you to just talk a little bit about where the book comes from. Like, why did you do it? What was going on that made you say, I think I'll write a book? It may not have been that sudden, but you know, definitely it progressed to that because we have you here.
I found myself in a situation where I was paralyzed with fear.
Oh, okay.
And through the process of, I guess, survival, really, I felt like I needed to share that experience with others because if anybody else was in that same position or came upon a position that caused them fear, they would have a resource. They would have a way to overcome that challenge. And so I had the opportunity to speak at the Bass conference, and pretty much what I shared with the ladies, which there was about 125 ladies at 8 o'clock on a Saturday morning that all wanted to know about fear. So I thought to myself, if this many people are willing to get up and come to the conference and listen to somebody they don't even know, then I should share the information. So after that conference, the ladies came up to me and they said, "Do you have a book?" And I said, "No, I don't."
But you didn't have a book at that time.
I didn't have a book.
Oh, okay.
But a very dear friend said, "It's in there. It's just waiting to be birthed."
Well, you know, when you talk about fear, is there any particular kind of fear you're talking about, or just fear? You know, because I know I used to have, and I still do, because I do presentations, but I always have in my gut a fear, like, am I gonna blow this? Is something gonna happen? Can I take the whatever happens as a result of making a mistake? Is that the kind of fear you're talking about?
The fear that I take it on all levels here. That kind of fear is just like a little anxiety, which is a very low rate fear. The main cause of this book was a paralyzing fear, a fear where I could not move forward. I could not move backwards. I was just stuck and I didn't know what to do. And so I couldn't even, I was just at a point where I could not even get a prayer through. And even with my prayer warriors, I finally just had to turn it over to God. And once I did that, everything changed.
Okay, so I'm really interested, Deborah. I just want to like delve a little bit more. Is that fear, like some people have a fear of going outside, or they have a fear of particular circumstances. Is that the kind of fear you're talking about?
That is more what I would consider a phobia, like, you know, fear of spiders and that kind of thing. This is more of a fear of you just are afraid to move forward. And I think our main
talking with people,
in doing anything. I think our main fear is our main fear is a fear of judgment. We're so concerned about what people think about us that we cannot move forward. We're afraid to fail, but we don't understand that failure is an event. The plan didn't go the way you expected to go. The outcome was not the way you expected it to be. The process was not what you expected. That is the failure. You as an individual are not a failure. And once people understand that, then they're not afraid to move forward because they're not going to fail. They're not going to be the failure that they think they are.
And anger is connected with that also?
Yes.
Because I get sometimes times I get pretty angry.
Yes, I feel like all, I
You
feel
know,
like,
ugh. But you can't live in that anger because it does
it
paralyze
will
you.
consume you.
Yeah,
Anger will
yeah.
consume you, and anger is just a form of fear.
It is.
I feel that, everything is either based, everything we do is either based off of love or fear.
Oh, okay.
And
okay.
so anger is just you showing out, it's a certain form of fear. And so when we're angry, you have to stop and ask yourself, why am I angry? Am I angry at myself, how I reacted? Am I angry at what someone else did? Am I angry at the circumstance? What is it that's causing you to be angry? And if you dig deep enough, you'll find out that it wasn't in the anger, but it was the fear of the result of what was going to happen.
Okay, so like, I'm pretty angry right now in my life, so I need to actually look at what am I angry about.
Right, you need to look at the circumstance because there's a circumstance
There's a
that's causing you
circumstance
the
that goes
anger.
with it, and then look at what did I want it to be different.
Right, how can you change that circumstance?
Okay.
And you can't live in that anger because that will eat you up.
Well, I'm gonna have to get that book, girl.
I hope you do.
It looks. I feel already it's gonna do a service to me.
Yes,
You know.
that is the goal, to be able to
Yeah.
help someone. If you make it through a certain situation, it's important that you share that information with others. Because
Well, you know, because we're used to. I'm used to getting mad, upset, and dealing with it. You know, like pressing through no matter what. But you're saying is there's a way to eliminate.
right,
It can be resolved. It's not consumed by it.
not consumed by it. You persevere. You keep fighting for it. You
Yeah,
keep
yeah.
pressing forward, regardless of what the circumstance is. But once if you stop and examine what it is that's causing you to be angry or causing you to be afraid, once you can examine that and actually compartmentalize it, and then decide what action you're going to take, and then you can alleviate a lot of those fears. It's like
Okay.
we learn in church all the time. Turn it over to God, and the sooner you turn it over, the sooner the resolution comes.
Yeah.
I
But you-
love it.
Fear and faith cannot coexist. So the
Fear and faith.
cannot coexist.
Okay.
So if you're afraid, that means that you don't trust that God is going to do what He said He's going to do. So in order to be less fearful, you have to be more faithful.
Oh, I love it. Thank you.
You're
Thank you.
welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. So, Marilyn, I'm going to talk a little bit to you, and we'll go back and forth.
Okay.
So, your book is fascinating because it simply says, "Be still," which leaves me thinking, "Be still, be still." What? So, could you talk a little bit about what you were going through and what you meant when you said, "Be still"?
Yes. Oh, wow. I always wanted to write a book. I always felt I had a book inside of me, but didn't feel as I was ready to write that book because I wasn't a literature major, English major, or
Yes.
whatever. It's like, oh my goodness, Lord, how am I going to write this book? I don't know where to start. But He kept telling me to be still. So even years before, when I wanted to write my story, I had to be still. So that's how be still came, because God had to show me or tell me, you have to be still and know that I am. So
Okay.
I said,
So
okay,
you
Lord.
actually had to be still.
Yes, literally. Because in order for me to write, I had to. In order for Him to use me, I had to. So when I started to write my book and telling my story, I was still. So I was able to hear Him.
You receive it.
Yes. And so.
And the courage that it took.
Yeah.
I just want to comment that on both of you, that it takes a certain amount of courage, a lot of courage, to write a book, especially when you're talking about your own personal experiences, because then you're exposed to negativity and criticism and judgment, all the things that we fear.
Yes.
You have to go through that in order to get what you want for yourself. So I commend you on that.
Yeah.
So your book is about
It's about trauma, abuse.
abuse.
Yes, abuse.
And there's all kinds of abuse, right?
Yes. And I deal with all three subjects of
Oh, really?
sexual, emotional, and physical abuse, domestic violence. Yes.
You dealt with that? And
Yes. Yes.
Well, good for you.
Yes.
You came out of that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Overcame, victorious. And
Yes.
I'm able
Yes.
to share that story to help somebody else.
Now I want to know more about what's in the book, right? What's in the book? And let me hear it, because I know that personally I can relate to it. So
Yeah.
I just want to know if you want to give us a taste of what's in the book and
Okay, well, I talk about how good my childhood was at that time, how good it was, but then in the midst of it, of the enemy trying to destroy certain things in my life so that I wouldn't be the woman I am today.
So how did you go beyond that? Like in the moment of that, what was going on that you could say, I'm not going to be destroyed by this?
You know, as I got older, that's when I started to realize, because abuse started as a child.
Oh, okay.
And
okay.
then as I became an adult, I carried that abuse, you know, and thinking, so I talk about in my abuse the domestic violence. And there was some fear, you know, in that, because at the time as a child, men abused me. So when I became an adult, that I wanted a rough, tough, you know, man that was gonna protect me. I thought that would protect me.
Got it.
Because of the other sexual abuse, the emotional abuse. And so then I got with a man that I felt that was going to, or men, not just a man, but men that I thought would be protective. But one of the last relationships that I had was very, very abusive. So abusive, it really tore me. It tore me down. So it went from all those abusive, then being still and being alone from all that form of abuse. I had to be in a place of by myself. But yeah, I just,
And finding the strength.
yes,
Marilyn.
Yes.
Who are you really?
But even though those are, I went from being, I got married and was with my husband I've been with my husband for several years. And even in that time, the Lord still had to have me be still, because he needed to really change my mindset on different
what
things.
was abuse?
Yeah.
What was,
Yeah. And so things started to change in my life once I was able to be still.
Well, you know, in this day and time, your book is very prevalent. You know,
Yes.
with the women's revolution about sexual harassment. People come out of the closet talking about how they grew up in an abusive sexual relationship, and so it's taken a lot of courage for you to do this.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so you want to talk about, how did your husband take it that you were going to write this book? Was he kind of like, oh no, people don't think it's me, you know, something like paranoia or fear for himself with you writing this book?
You know, it was like, okay, this is what you want to do.
Okay.
This is because it's really about me and the healing that God wanted to give me. It wasn't necessarily about him. He accepted it. So at that time, he has accepted it. But it was a challenge, I believe, for him. But he hasn't expressed it. But I think it's been a challenge for him. But it was a healing for me that God had to do for me. And writing was a form of my healing.
Okay.
That was something very powerful, because I didn't think I was able, but I was able to do it.
Wow. So now that you've written the book, you've had a certain amount of public acknowledgement. So what's next? Like, what are you doing now to further this, you know, exposure that you're having and the whole self-expression?
For me, I want to take this book and expand on it and make like a workbook series. I want to be able to, for people to be able to use it on a deeper level. I mean, you read the story and then you're like, okay, I've given a few tools, but I wanted to go deeper than that. Fear is one of those things, like you said, you're growing up with fear. We're taught fear. So, you know, I want people to understand that don't teach your children fear. You teach them to be aware. You teach them to be cautious in different situations. You teach them to be safe. And you teach them to respect authority, not to fear authority. And so I think that just through different exercises that I want to put together to go with this, I'll be able to reach some different people and different levels.
Yeah.
And like you asked me about fear, you know, coming from different, like anger. You know, there's so many people angry. Are they really angry, or is it that they're just so afraid? We're living in some precarious times right now. And I think that a lot of people are afraid. They don't know what to expect. It's like watching a scary movie. You want to look away, but you're afraid to look away because you don't know what's going to happen next.
Right, right.
And so living in, under this blanket of fear makes people do things that they might not have done otherwise. It makes you desperate.
Before we go any further, I want people to know, where can they publish that book? Because I know a lot of people right now are wondering, I want that book. How can I get it?
Okay, you can, I guess the best way is just to email me, dmoody at A as in Apple, C as in Charlie, P as in Paul, W, C as in Charlie.com.
Persevere through fear, our journey, our victory. So I love this. It's really a nice cover. And for you to have another book of this as a workbook, I think it'll be very popular.
Yes,
So thank you again for doing this. And we look forward to the next book that's going to come out. So we're going to take a short break right now before we come back, because we have lots of information for you. So just hang in there and wait for us. Okay, welcome back. We have lots of good information for you, a lot of good just listening. You'll find yourself in pieces of this. When you want to know more, you can get in touch with either one of my guests, how to purchase their book, how to get more information, invite them as speakers to an organization, because what we've been talking about is something very pertinent now. So I want to welcome you back. It's really good. So now where did we stop? We were stopping at a good place. Oh, I wanted you to say more about what's going to happen as a result of this book, what it took for you to get it done, and now that you have it done, what's next?
Yeah, so what ended up happening, I felt like, okay, I know that there's more. After this book, I know you were saying you're about to start a workbook, and I felt as though it was time I birthed the organization from this book.
Oh, you birthed an organization?
Yes.
So what is the organization?
It's called Women Rising Above Abuse, and I hold it every second Thursday here at the Afro Center.
Okay, so that's one thing you can attend. If you're one of the people who's been unfortunate to be in an abusive relationship and you're not going to take it anymore, and you want some way to get out and support, like a support group?
Yes.
Yeah, call the...
Empowerment group.
Empowerment group, okay, good. So call the, who would they call?
Well, they can go to the website womenrisingaboveabuse.org, and they can email me.
And how often do you have this support group?
It's every second Thursday of the month from 7 to 8:30 here at the Afro Center.
Another thing that Milan Ballantyne, our executive director, is putting forth in this community to make a difference, so we're happy about that. Yeah. So how many women do you have coming?
They range from, sometimes it's 4 women, sometimes 10 women.
Okay.
It's whoever, it's open to all that want to be empowered and strengthened to help them overcome whatever issues, or if they're in an issue or in a problem or situation, that we try to help as much as we can to help them overcome that.
So it's kind of like a resource group. At the same time, it's an empowering them by knowing that they can move forward.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and I'm the example
of
moving forward. Yeah, and other women come and they speak about how they overcame too. So it's a constant, because I feel as though we have to keep being empowered. I have to keep being empowered. It's not just a one-time thing and then I'm able to go.
It's like keep peeling. It's like an onion. You keep peeling. Yeah. Yeah. It's a life thing.
It is a life thing.
So, and that's what your organization is about that you mentioned?
Yes.
And how long have you been in existence?
It's been, I've been holding the empowerment group going on a year now. Okay, good. Actually, it's going to be a year in December that I've been holding it. The organization's been around for 2 years, and it's grassroots, something so new. But I knew that this is what the call was, to help others in those situations.
So where do you want to see it grow to?
I would like for it to grow where I'm able to house women that have been in domestic violence, also human trafficking. I want to be able to give counseling services. I have somebody that will be coming in that's volunteering their time through Kingdom Family Resources, that there'll be someone here to offer their time. So I just wanted to continue to grow, to continue to help the community.
Well, trafficking of young girls is really a big deal.
Yes.
They're doing that everywhere. It wasn't so much in San Jose before, but now it is.
Yes.
You know, they just kidnap children and send them to parts of the world or the country.
Yeah.
And you're going to be letting them know how to
Yes.
avoid that,
Yes.
how to recognize it.
All these different things, even through the organization called Love Never Fails. Vanessa Russell, she holds an organization, and I partner with her. I love what she's doing. She's been out there for years, and to be a part of that and learning and is a wonderful thing, because these children, these women need healing from sexual abuse, from emotional abuse, and some domestic violence. So these are areas that I want to help them to overcome and continue to do that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Because that collaboration is really needed.
It is.
We need to collaborate more with the organizations.
Very much.
So,
Because it's not, I just want, some people feel as though, oh, I have this over here, I have that, but it takes a village. It comes together. And when I hear that or when I see that, I pull away, because it's not just about this and that.
It's a collaboration.
It's all of us holding hands to reach as many as we can.
And I think the fact that it's faith-based gives you a lot of power.
Yeah.
It gives you a lot of, stamina, understanding, so that you can embrace other groups and organizations,
Yeah.
So, thank you. Thank you. I know it's going to be doing a big service in this community. So, Deborah, I wanted to go beyond, because I know you're writing a book, the workbook here. And what impact in this do you think it's had on your, as you can see, not just for yourself, but for others? So the biggest impact, of course, is for yourself. You could talk a little bit about that.
So I think starting personally, I think the day that I realized I had to do something was like day one. I remember waking up that day. I didn't want to wake up. I wanted to just continue sleeping. But I got up, I got out of my bed, I walked to my office. I thought I was going to sit on my chair and do some work at my desk. But instead I got on my knees. And I said, Lord, help me. Please help me. Take this from me or take me. I can no longer do this. I turn this over to you. Take it now. And almost instantaneously, nothing changed and everything changed in that 1 second. And I didn't feel any more fear or any more anxiety. I just let him take care of it, and whatever was going to happen was going to happen. I knew at that moment that I could no longer control it. So so that's how it impacted me. Now how I move that forward is when other people see that you're not afraid of a lot of things, or you're not you don't feel stressed by a lot of things. When others see that you feel confident in going in different areas and talking and sharing, that makes them feel more confident. And fear is a lack of confidence, right? When you're walking the walk and talking the talk, it makes it a lot easier, and people see that as an example, as a role model. And from that, I've noticed that people have been have been coming to me and sharing things with me that I would not have expected. So I feel like it's important to just keep putting it out there, being a mentor, being, listening to people's stories. People feel safe when they share with me. And so I feel like I can use that information that they're giving me and help them to work through whatever the situation is that they need. Sometimes you just need a different perspective on things. Sometimes we're so close to a situation we cannot see it as it truly is, because we're so afraid and so bound by it. Fear is very binding. It's so limiting.
Very crippling.
It puts you it puts you in this box, and you can't move forward. You can't do anything until you're able to free yourself. It's bondage.
Yes.
Wow. I just feel good about just listening to you. I can see where it would be a big influence on me. So thank you.
Thank you.
You're available to anybody who'd love to have Deborah come and speak to their organization and provide a kind of freedom there for everybody, because we're all under some kind of fear or apprehension or something.
Right. I have a group that I spoke at called Confidence Without Regret. And the same kind of principle that, women were so fearful of things. and it's a group that helps you to be more confident. You know, we just want to share. We want to know that there's other people that may be in that same circumstances, and you can overcome that. You know, once you know that someone else shares the same feelings that you're sharing, or is having the same problem that you're having, there's a safety net in there. You know,
Okay,
you
yeah,
feel
yeah,
like,
there is.
okay, I'm not alone in this. And you know, and I'm sure that you experience that. The ladies experience that when they come to your workshop. They know they're not alone, and just knowing that you're not alone gives you power.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
it's
'cause,
power.
you know,
It's
they
empowering
survive-
just to know that someone else survived this, and I can survive it too.
Exactly.
Yes.
Mira, I know you're a publisher, is
Yeah.
one of the things we discussed when we were on a break. So you publish other people's work that,
Yes.
you know, that's another offspring of this be still, right?
Yes, yes.
So you don't know what's gonna happen when you be still.
I know. All these things birthed. But yes, Amari Rice Publishing. So I help others publish their books to have a story to tell or to help empower people.
It doesn't matter what the subject is or anything, you can help them do. You can either read something from your book or you can tell me something that you want the audience to know. So either way, it'd be great. So you want to read something from your book?
I can.
Okay, good. So we only have like 5 minutes, so
Okay.
we'll make this happen, and so the people get the benefit, the biggest benefit from you being on the show.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll be quick. Okay. Looking at it that way, let me know that those circumstances have me stronger. I'm talking about the abuse. I'm reading from the chapter, Bruised, Yes, Broken, No.
Bruised, yes, broken, no. I love that chapter. I love the title of that chapter.
Yes, yes. Those men took my heart, my self-worth, my whole outlook on men, and molded them into a destructive force. They tried to destroy what God had for me. Some of you may have experienced some sort of abuse I have discussed in this chapter. You might even be discouraged. I too was a broken vessel that nobody thought was any good. Then Jesus picked up the broken pieces of my heart and revived it. He changed my heart, my worth, and my outlook on men. He revived my soul. I declare and decree healing in your life and deliverance. You will not live in your past. You will have life full of joy, peace, and love because you deserve it. You will not die, but live. I will proclaim what the Lord has done. You are special. You are worth it. You will be okay. Trouble, hashtag, trouble don't last always.
Oh, okay, I got to get the book. Thank you very much. It's touching to me. So, Deborah, what do you have for us?
Love and fear. Love and fear, the two most powerful emotions we possess. I believe that they are two motivating factors for everything we do. Both can make us do things we never thought we would. We probably struggle as much with love as with fear, although few would admit to struggling with either. You can't help whom you love, but you can control what you fear. Why do we struggle so much with these two emotions? I believe it is because they are not easily understood, they are not controllable, and they can be concealed in many forms. Anger, for example. They were the first emotions created, making them the most powerful. Everything we do and feel is just a version of these two feelings. Sometimes they are intertwined, making it extremely difficult to understand why we behave the way we do. I believe these two emotions rob us of peace, happiness, confidence, and a fulfilling life. But I believe that with faith, we can persevere through the fear. A quote by Marianne Williamson, "Love is what we were born with. Fear is what we learn here."
As you can see, it's awesome. I want to thank you so much for joining us today. This is like the 4th show of the series. The 2 best guests. Every time I say that, because they're always the best guests that are on the show. And thank you for your time, and thank you for being courageous enough to put down your thoughts so others, myself, can learn from, enjoy, and become more over who we are.
Thank you
Thank
for having me.
you. Thank you.